going on, big homies? This is your brother Malcolm, and we gotta have a conversation. We gotta have a conversation about Boruto. I mean, this last episode that we all watched was tragic. It was very tragic for my heart. Now, we're going to talk about the death of Kurama. Kurama has been with us for whew, about 20 years, almost 20 years. And for us old school Naruto fans, we grew up with Kurama. We grew up with Naruto and Kurama when they first started beefing till they became best of friends, and the powers that they had gained together is no reason why I felt the way I felt when Kurama had passed. That last scene was traumatic to a brother, real talk. And we remember in the early beginning when Naruto was first meeting Kurama, and Kurama to Naruto was just a massive chakra. Mostly because Kurama didn't really want to be seen, but he was a menace. He was a menace to Naruto. He was a menace to his livelihood. He was something that caused Naruto a lot of strife and pain growing up. But at the end of the day, they came together to accomplish wonderful things. Team 7 was paramount to everything that Naruto needed. He had to seek friendships and relationships with people first and gather those bonds before he actually tried the attempt with Kurama. Now, Kurama himself has also had so much hatred in his heart from being used and abused over and over and over again, from seeing his father die, the Sage of Six Paths, to being locked up in the security for like 3 times. And it sucked for him. It was something that he wanted to fight through. Now, again, we all remember Kurama from his little small age, from when he was just a little baby, when he was just, when they just had split from being the Ten Tails, like that was a monumental moment. I mean, as you can see, look how cute this man is. Who knew he was going to grow up to be what he turned into? And he's been with us. He's been a part of our childhood growing up. And I think that a lot of people don't realize how impactful he was to Naruto's life, how impactful he was to the ninja world. He's an amazing character. And the power that he had, his tails can destroy mountain ranges and cause storms and tsunamis. His Amari, his Bujidama, was the strongest out of the 9. Like technically, if you line up all the tail beasts against Kurama, technically Kurama would win because he has the biggest part of the Senju, being 9 tails. But when Naruto finally got to him, and they started to fight for his control of his power, more than anything, that was a respect factor. That was a respect factor that Kurama could not deny to Naruto, because Kurama valued strength. And on top of all the hatred he had, strength was what my man valued more than anything. So when they fought and Naruto had won, it opened Kurama's eyes to like, hey, this is the kid that I grew up with, and look what he became. And when they powers had blended together, when they powers had came together to become something unbelievable, without Kurama, they would not have won the 4th Ninja War. Without Kurama, Naruto would have had half his feats. Naruto is a strong ninja. Let's keep it a buck. Naruto ain't no hoe out here with these hands. But some of the things that he could do could only be accomplished because he has Kurama with him. And even the heartfelt moments was brought upon by Kurama. Him fighting for Kurama's power, losing control of Kurama's power, allowed Naruto to meet his family for the first time. His dad was the one that sealed Kurama into him, because Obito released Kurama from his mom. And it was the first time meeting his dad, and the impactful moment that they had. Now, obviously, his dad was, resurrected and, of course, fought in the Ninja War as an undead soldier. But just this impactful moment, knowing that his dad had such faith in him in controlling Kurama's power. He wouldn't have met his dad at this moment without being the Chikuri of Kurama. And the impact of Naruto finally meeting his mom. His mom who he's so much like. You know, because as we know, Uzumaki's have red hair, but his dad, of course, how you see his dad features, you can see his dad features in the hair, some of the, mindsets that he has, the unpredictability, but his attitude is Kushina's. His verbal tick he gets from his mom. His mom loved him to death. And they both took a claw from Kurama when he was under control of Madara to save Naruto. And to be honest, besides the fillers, this is the only time that Naruto has met his mom. Even if it's just a memory of her, a memory imprint. And once they finally had started working together, the powers that they had. When you combine Kurama in the chakra mode, when you combine the Sage and Six Paths, when you combine Sage mode, like you combine all of these, and he literally was the strongest thing walking for a cool minute. I'm not going to include, obviously the aliens that this show has that we can get started on Boruto another time because it's not about him, but at the end of the day, like they combined powers to fight so many opponents. And they both had each other's back. Let's face it, the power that these both had was something that for Naruto fans, we hadn't seen power besides, always using Madara and Pain as an example of, what power is. But for teenagers, when the Fourth Ninja War, technically, they grew up in a relatively cushy era besides, the first Ninja War, the second Ninja War, the third Ninja War, where it was constant fighting. Whereas you're like, oh, wow, you can still produce shinobi that can do these wonderful feats of strength. And Kurama was integral to being part of Team 7. He kind of was the fourth member. Whether people knew it or not, he was needed for these battles. And it's a shame that, sometimes that there was wins and losses. As we know, Naruto is Hokage now, and he's fighting Isiki here, and it seems like sometimes their powers don't measure up. Now, again, this is Boruto, this is his show, so obviously Boruto has to be stronger than anything, walking, because obviously, let's face it, he's Boruto. But they had to find a way to nerf Naruto and Sasuke because it's not their show. So when you have to nerf Naruto, a lot of people think is nerf Naruto by getting rid of Kurama, which, again, people don't realize that it takes more to be a cage than just having huge amounts of chakra in a tail beast. As we can see, they was getting bodied for a minute. They was getting bodied with Kurama's help, with Sasuke's Rinnegan. And when you put such big giant characters in the show where everybody just seems like they're just OP and the feats have to top, one another, because again, like you said, Boruto has to be stronger than his dad. Naruto's story is over, even though I wish they had came out with an anime showing, the halfway point between, them in the Fourth Ninja War to Naruto becoming Hokage. But Naruto time and Sasuke's time is done. This is about his son and his friends, Sasuke's daughter, Misiki, it's all about them. And like you said, they're not always winning. As you can see, Misiki bodied them for most of the fight until Naruto ripped out a new form. And I was shocked. About this new form because no one knew what this was. Barrier mode was something that was unheard of. Now, in my mind, when we talk about barrier mode, it was under my assumption, in my opinion, that once this mode had ran out, Naruto Kurama was going to die. That was my thought behind that. Once they had got to this mode and they started bodying, until the mode had ran out, I thought that was the end of Naruto and Kurama. It was like Kurama can live without Naruto, but Naruto technically can live for a minute without Kurama. But if they both use and spell their chakra, They were both dead, essentially. And then when Kurama comes out and says that, no, it's just me who's dying, you have to think of Naruto's mindset and what Kurama has seen throughout Naruto. Kurama has seen Naruto when he was a kid, all the way till he was a teenager, till he was adult, and he was there with him step by step, every part of the way. Because at least we forget, he was the Jukuri of Kushina and Mito when they was adults. It's like Kushina was a little younger than Mito, obviously, but she wasn't there when Naruto was a baby. And with Naruto and with Kurama's passing, it's such a monumental thing in anime, because again, we grew up with this. Some people are young enough now that they don't know really Naruto like that. We talk about it, but then they have to go back and watch it, but all they know is Boruto. The fist bump signified so much more than just a transfer of power. It showed a transfer of friendship, how a fist bump you can look into people's hearts and mindsets and connect with them. That was the whole Sage's past, mindset when he gave out ninjutsu, when he gave out chakra, was ninshu. When you want to connect with somebody on a deeper level, not for fighting, but for, understanding and to stop war. And that's what that fist bump signified between Naruto and Kurama. And with Kurama's last fist bump and his passing as he's fading away, he's telling Naruto, hey, man, listen, you don't have that super healing anymore. Those large chakra feats that you performed, it's going to be dampened a little bit. Again, least forget, Naruto is a Uzumaki, so he has tons of chakra. And his chakra has grown over the years. But the 5,000-6,000 shadow clones he can do or more, it's probably not going to happen. His healing factor is going to be lessened. Or not there at all, probably as the way this show is going. So Naruto has an uphill battle. And Kurama realizes this, and Kurama's like, hey, I don't want to see you too soon. Everybody's, expecting Kurama to come back because technically, they say that Tail B's chakra doesn't run out. They just, hibernate for a minute. But no, this is Kurama's last part of the anime. Unless they bring him back with some type of, bull. But this is it for Kurama. And we're going to miss him. He was part of our childhood. He was something that we look forward to. And the banner between him and Naruto, he was there for the struggle. He was Naruto's ride and die. And so at the end, these two, along with Sasuke, along with Sakura, along with Kakashi and everybody else in Lee's village, they depended on Kurama just like Kurama depended on Naruto to help get rid of his hatred, to find a friend, to fill in the void of loneliness that he felt, from constantly being captured, to losing the Sage and Six Paths, to, just get rid of all that nasty hatred in order to be somebody. He was part of Naruto's family. His kids met him. His wife met him. He became a lot easier to be around with the other tail beasts, and he would surely be missed. And as a big Naruto fan, I just want to say rest in peace to Kurama, and we will miss him. And that's a fact.